Okay, we are learning Masechtas Yoma on Daf Vav Amud Aleph, Shmaka Amud today. So we are a couple lines down on the page. We'll start from Mafrishin Kohen Gadol. So the Mishnah told us that when Mafresh the Kohen Gadol, we separate the Kohen Gadol 7 days before Yom Kippur. Mafrishin Kohen Gadol Beisai Lelishkas Parhedrin. So for the Gemara, Lama Mafrishin, why do we separate him? Why do we separate him? Well, I'm Mafrishin. What do you mean? We've been talking about that for four blot already. Kida Arinon, like we mentioned already, either Rabbi Yochanan, Kida Islay, according to Rabbi Yochanan, the way he says it, which is that we learn it from the Miluim, and Ila Reish Lakish, according to Reish Lakish, we learn it from Kida Islay, the way he says it, which means that we learn it from Har Sinai. So what's the Gemara asking? Lama Mafrishin, why do we separate the Kohen Gadol? So he's got to be separated because of Miluim or because of Sinai. Says the Gemara, that wasn't what we meant. Hachi ka amar. This is the kasha the Gemara is asking. Mi beisai lama pirish. Why does he have to separate from his home? What does that mean? Says Rashi. A little more than halfway down in the skinny lines in Rashi. Mi beisai lama pirish. Mi ishtai lama pirish. Why can't he be together with his wife? Tava ishta ima isham. Why let his wife come with him? What I mean when it says mafrish mi beisai from his home, that means he's not together with his wife. That seems to be an integral part of this prisha, and the question is why? Sure, hare al korchach natez Rashi as well. Maybe the reason is because he can't be with his wife anyway. So why should she come? She says share al korchach lishkas berhedron lahesa kedusha. The Lishkas Parhedrin, says Rashi, could not be in a Makam Kaddish. It couldn't be in the Beis HaMikdash. She'ein Yeshiva Ba'azara El Malchi Beis David. The rule is that the only person who can sit in the Beis HaMikdash was a king from Beis David. Kol Sheken Shchiva. So certainly you're not lying down. So
then we say that it's understood here that if he's there for 7 days, he's for sure going to sit.
that was one teretz we gave, correct. But Rashi, this Rashi is the source that Rashi holds that the Lishkas Parhedrin was not in a Makam Kaddish, because otherwise you would not be allowed to sit and certainly sleep. So therefore, the Gemara is asking, so if you Elamai was in a place where you could, so if you could be Sheichev, so then let his wife come with him too. Now take a look at the second thesis here. Mi basically Lama Pirish. Pirish Rashi Tova Isha Im let his wife come with him. Sham Shariah Korach Lishkas Parhedrin Lahisa Kedusha. There was the Lishkas Parhedrin couldn't have been in a Makam Kaddish. Any Shiva Zara Kol Shken Shchiva. That's Rashi. Correct thesis. V'kashalon. We have the difficulty here. The Nehilu de like Kadisha Kedusha Azara. Granted, this is not the Azara. But Mikol Makam Karabayis Haisa. You're on Harabayis. The Amina Berak Chatos. The Kol Harabayis Machna Levihu, and Machna Levia had Harabayis has the halacha of Machna Levia. So what? It says Ubal Keri Eini Rashai Likanas Machna Levia. A Balkari is not allowed to stay in Machna Levia. So if a Balkari can't be in Machna Levia, so and Harabayis is considered Machna Levia, so then Kohen Gadol, there's no need to. I mean, he can't be with his wife anyway. He's not allowed to sleep with his wife. He's going to become a Balkari. So that's why we're Mafresh, and I say basically. So that's why Tosfos doesn't like what Rashi said, because if the kash is why he's separating from his wife, you're anyway not in Azara, yeah, but Harabayis is still a problem. To answer Rashi, you could say that the Lishkas Parhedrin was in a place that didn't even have Kedushas Harabayis. Okay, not sure how that would work, where it would be exactly. I mean, it would be in a place where you could see that you were very close to the base of the Mikdash, and you were close to Harabayis, but you weren't actually on Harabayis. Okay. The other this is an interesting teretz. This is from Mirei Mesada, is the Netziv. He says that the Isser, meaning you're telling me that a Balkari can't be in Machna Levia. Okay, great. So what does that mean? If you lived in Machna Levia back in the Mishkan days, so you couldn't sleep with your wife? Because you're going to become a Balkari? Obviously you could. So the Elamite, you just can't go into Machal Leviyah as a Balkari, and if you're a Balkari, you have to leave. But there's no Isser in becoming a Balkari in Machal Leviyah. So he says, so therefore, he that's his way to answer Taisus, his kasha on Rashi. Taisus gives a divrei shot. Last 4 lines in the last Taisus. Eliyesh Levarish. Mi beisi lama pirish. Why does he have to separate from home? Havelon lemeimar shiafrishu lemechila achas b'harabais. The Amrim Perketz Tzailim the mechilas lenis kachu. Meaning, granted, why does he have to separate from his wife? Because you could have just put him in a place where he could be with his wife on Harabais. Where's that? In the tunnels. You know, there was a whole tunnel network in the base of Migdash. You know that if you ever learned Talmud, so it talks about the way the Vakayan had to go to the mikveh in the middle of the night, how he would go through the tunnels. So he said he could have put him in a place there, then he could have been with his wife. So Gemara's kash is, why did he have to perish him from his wife? I saw you. There's another Taisus Harush. Dirshu brings another way. The kash is like this. If you're looking on in the Dirshu, I don't know what they're called here, but the second to last paragraph on the right column. The Yeshu will have to get you on Yechiel. Yeshu Varshim, he says, Sheshelas HaGemara. The Gemara's question is, Lama Yifresh Mi Beisai. Why does he have to say? Why can't he stay home? Let him go. He can go home at night before Shkia. He can be with his wife, and then he can go to the mikvah before Shkia, and then I'll have Harav Shemesh, and then he can go back to the Lishka. Because there's no issue to leave the Lishka, because even during the Milum, Aaron was allowed to leave Machan Leviyah Bizman Shemesh Kanayim Mefurak, Leheis Glushas Machanes. So the kash is literal. Why do you have to leave his home? He could have gone home at night for a little point to be with his wife. Okay, so the Gemara's kasha is, why are we mafresh the kohen from his wife? Why can't he have relations with his wife during the Shivas Yimei HaMiluim? That's the kasha. So the Gemara answers, Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda says, you know what the concern is? Shema timtza ishtei savik nida v'yaveh. Maybe he'll come home, or he'll be with his wife, and she'll be a savik nida, and he's going to sleep with her, and then we got a problem. Now he's a savik nida. He's going to have to be a shiv shiva. He'll be tummy for 7 days. Gemara, you can't sleep with your wife if she's a savik nida. What about the kain gadol? We're concerned that he's going to sleep with his wife when she's a savik nida. That's terrible. Are we dealing with Rishayim here? Oh, no, we got it wrong. We got to flip the words a little bit. Ella shema yavai al ishtai. Maybe he'll have relations with his wife. V'timtza, and will end up that she'll be a savik nida. Oh, now we'll have a problem. What does that mean? What's that scenario of a? What's that scenario? So the halach is like this, and it's a second parak in Masechtas Nida. It talks about like this. It talks about a woman is mishamish b'shnei idim. She does. The man after, we don't do this, but this was the halakha them because of Taharis. They did lots of bedikas. So a woman after Tashrish, a man would wipe himself if there was any blood on him. So then they were both Tamei Nida, and they have to bring a carbon. They're vade. He's vade by a nida. Okay. If she checked herself, it's called oisyam immediately after Tashmish, and she finds dam, so that's also Vadai. If it says the Gemara's Lashon is Achar, it was after Oisem, wasn't immediate, but it was in a period between immediate and the Gemara gives a shear of her going down from her bed and checking herself. If it's in that amount of time, then you are a suffix. They're both, there's a suffix nida. And if it was after that amount of time, so then it's mitama me'es leis. That means the halacha is by nida, every time a woman, this is a din d'Rabbanan, because of taharis. If a woman became a nida, everything she touched for the past 24 hours becomes tamei. Okay? So she's tamei, everything me'es leis, so the hours, 24 hours before, and there's a machlekes. Is he also going to be considered tamei? Because if you're being matam all the taharis back 24 hours, then he should also become tamei. That's the machlokes. The Tanakama holds he's not tummy. Rabbi Akiva holds he is tummy. Okay, that's the hakdama to this next little piece of Gemara. So again, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseir says Shema timsa ishtay safik nida. And now next one, Shema yava al ishtay. He'll be with his wife. V'timsa, and it'll come out that she's a safik nida. Okay, so that's why we're pirish a man, a kain gadol, from his wife for 7 days, because if we end up in this situation, so again, the halach is if a person's a bayal nida, so he's tummy for 7 days. So if this ends up, if we're averaging for 7 days, if he's bayal during these 7 days, so then won't be able to do the avodah. So we're averaging from his wife, he can't be with her for 7 days. That means even if he ended up being with her the day before they came in, by the time he goes to the mikvah on Erev Yom Kippur, he'll be tar Yom Kippur night. Amru Rabbanan kamed Rav Chisda. The Rabbanan said over the shtickle Torah before Rav Chisda. And he says to them, come on, who is this like? Rabbi Akiva? Are we going like Rabbi Akiva here? The Amar Nida Mitama is Baila. A Nida is Mitama, the person who has relations with her, even if it was within 24 hours. If one becomes a Nida, then anyone she was with 24 hours before that is going to become Baal Nida. So you must be going like Rabbi Akiva. The Nida Mitama is Baila. The Nida Mitama is Baila. The Rabbanan, because if you're going according to the Rabbanan, they said, ain't the Matama is Baila. Anida is not Matama, her husband. Okay, so this must be going like Rabbi Akiva. Amr lahu, Rav Chisda said to them, Nana, I feel him Rabbanan. This could even be going like the Rabbanan. Because Ad kan like Rabbanan, Rabbi Akiva. Where do the Rabbanan argue on Rabbi Akiva? That's only in the Zman of, it's called Ba'achar Achar. In the time after the time when you'd be a suffix, right? So again, we had the time Aisem immediately. We have the time called the Acher, and then the time Acher. So in the time of Acher, that only Rabbi Akiva holds up. But in the time of Acher itself, everybody agrees that the guy is going to be a suffix, he's going to be considered a suffix nida. So it says, I can't like Rabbi Akiva el Ba'acher Acher. But if it's just one acher, so it was in the time after immediate, before a later time, so then she would be considered a suffix nida, and therefore she's going to be. He'll be. That is what we are concerned about. The kohen gadol being with his wife, and she becoming a nida, and then he's going to be tamei. Now, why does the Gemara say that we're concerned that he's going to be boiler and she'll be a suffix nida? Why does it say that we're concerned he's going to be boiler and she'll be a nida? Right. He'll end up being boiler nida. He'll find out on him. She'll do a b'dika isyam and she'll be a nida. Like, why do we have to talk about a case of suffix nida? So the Pasha says it means yeah, exactly. Meaning we're even chayshish for this case, which would be helpful because then there are more scenarios. It could be we wouldn't be chayshish just for the case of her becoming a bad nida, because that's much more rare than this case of being a suffix nida. So it includes more cases. So therefore, there's more reason to be chayshish. Now, is a geshmak on the second piece in the second column. The Shalmi brings the lashon shema timtza ishti nida. Maybe it'll come out his wife is a nida. Doesn't say suffix. And the Rambam codifies the Yerushalmi. The Rambam says the concern is Shema Timsa Ishti Nida. That's a big. Why did the Rambam do that? Our Gemara says that maybe it'll become a suffix nida. We wouldn't make this gezer just for a nida v'adei. So why did he say that? Says Geshmak. The Rambam Shita is. We all know the halacha is. Suffix deraisa is l'chumra. Suffix derabanan is a kula. Suffix deraisa is l'chumra. Now, with the fact that you have to go l'chumra on a da'iraisa, is that a din da'iraisa or a din da'rabana? This that we're machmir on a suffix da'iraisa, is that a din da'iraisa or a din da'rabana? So this is a machlekes rishonim. Okay, the pashas you say I would have thought if it's a suffix da'iraisa, like how could you go like misvar? You'd have to go l'chumra. It's a suffix if it's a da'iraisa. The Rambam holds that suffix da'iraisa l'chumra is only midrabana. The fact that we're machmir is only din da'rabana. So says, who is this? The Matzchias and the Chazon Yecheskel, that according to the Rabbanon, that the din to be machmir on a suffix is only the Rabbanon. So he said we wouldn't make a gezerah on a suffix on that din. Right? If the concern is only that she's going to be a suffix nida, well, being machmir on a suffix nida is only a din Rabbanon, so that I wouldn't have to be choshesh for. So I wouldn't be machmir from his wife because of that chashash. So therefore, the Ram has to give you a scenario where there's a suffix deraisa. Geschmack. Okay. Good. So what do we do so far here? We spoke about what the why we being the kash of the Gemara is that you being mafish on me basically. Why couldn't he, what area is he going to be that he'd be allowed to be with his wife in the first place? So Rashi says that he could be on Har Bayis. He holds that it can't be on Har Bayis. He's got to be in a place where it's not Kaddish, so it would be maybe in one of the tunnels. That was the kash of the Gemara. The Gemara said the concern here is being bail, that maybe he'll end up being bail ishtei nida, and the machlek is if this is because of a suffix or because of a vaday. Gevaldik. Says the Gemara Vayter, Amr B'Zera. Shema mina. You know what? I can learn something from here. From the fact that we're being purged, this guy, 7 days before, and the concern is that maybe he's going to the reason why we're being purged him 7 days is because of a concern that he's going to be boil suffix nida. So I can learn something from this. Says Reb Zera. Amr Reb Zera Shema mina boil nida eina kenida v'tovel bayayim. A man who's boil nida is allowed to be tovel on day 7, not like a woman who can only be tovel on the night after the 7th. The amid boil nida kenida, because if the halacha would be that a boil nida has the same halacha of a nida, so that would mean like this: emas tavel. Let's say the day that you took him in to the Beis Hamikdash, he was with his wife. Okay, now he's going to have to go 7 days. So he took him in on Gimel, right? On Sam Gedali is when he went in. It was no Sam Gedali, but he took him in on Gimel Tishrei. So Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Ches, Tes. Erev Yom Kippur, right? Erev Yom Kippur would be day 7. So he can't be tevel on during the day. He can only be tevel that night. Well, if you're going to be tevel at night, then you're at Tvul Yom. Right? The halach is a guy went with the day you go to the mikvah, you're at Tvul Yom until the next night, until the sun sets. So he's at Tvul Yom. So how can he do the avodah? It's not part of Duma. So must be that he's allowed to be tevel on day 7. And therefore, once he's on Erev Yom Kippur, he goes to the mikvah. Once nightfall, once it says a kachavim, so now he's not a Tvul Yom anymore. He could do the avodah. So that's Reb Zera's right. Shema mina boil nida eina kenida v'tevel b'yam. The amr boil nida kenida then emes tavel. Belelia, she's going to go to the mikvah. He's going to go to the mikvah at night. Lamachar hechi yaver avodah. So how can he do the avodah the next day? V'bayar shemesh. He needs to wait till says a kachavim. El alav shema mina boil nida eina kenida. Shema karaya Reb Zera. So that would be a raya that a boil nida is allowed to, even though a nida can only be tevel at night, a boil nida is allowed to be tevel by day. Okay. Sagt Rav Shimon ben Ardai, Rav Shimon ben Ardai amar, afilu teima, boil nida kenida. No, I could even tell you, really, a boil nida has to be tevel at night as well. But you know what we did? The mafrishinon le sha'achas samoch l'shkias achama. They wouldn't take the kohen on Gimel Tishrei. They would take him an hour before Shkia on Beis Tishrei. So that means the last time he could have been together with his wife was on Beis. So then you already have Gimel Dalet Hey Vav Zayin Ches Tes on testing. Even if he goes to the mikvah he's going to end up going to the mikvah. So if he was with his wife on Beis, so we have Beis Gimel Dalet Hey Vav Zayin Ches. So Ches at night, which is Tes Erev Yom Kippur at night. He'll go to the mikvah and they'll have Her Shemesh by the time Yom Kippur comes. That's Rav Shimi's So even though it's not the Mishnah says, he says Shivas Yamim Kaidim Yom Kippurim. He took him 7 days before. You didn't take him a day before that. So it's like Rashi.
What time? When did they say to take him? What time of the day? Like
Whenever you can take him on whenever anytime
no,
on
the
Gimel.
day starts at night, so before they take him, maybe they were taking him.
I said take him at night,
Right.
but there's still a concern that if he was with his wife that night before they took him, so then he's going to have an issue. So Rashi jumps on this issue of Rav Shimi's teretz. Where it goes, Samach l'shkia sachama, 2, 4, 5 lines, 6 lines up in Rashi. It's in the middle of the line. Samach l'shkia sachama, shmeni yom l'fnei Yom Kippur. So it's really 8 days before Yom Kippur. V'had the le shiva I. So why does the Mishnah call it 7? Shemahu bort alei chashuv. That little extra hour, it didn't make a difference. Okay, so that's Rashi's teretz. V'tavel or shel erev Yom Kippur. Then he'd go to the mikvah on the night of Tes. V'avi l'macher shel erev Yom Kippur v'herav shemshay. All right, that is okay. Kabbalic. Back to the goes. That's where we have a machlekes here between Reb Zera and Reb Shimi. Reb Zera says a Baal Nida is the Lav Kanida, and Reb Shimi holds that Baal Nida is Kanida, and he's got to go to the mikvah at night. The Gemara is going to have a few kashas on Reb Shimi. Says the Gemara, Meisvei, Kol Chayvei Tvilos, Tvilosan B'Yom. Anybody who's chayav to go to the mikvah goes to the mikvah by day. Nida v'yeledes tfilasim b'layla. The exception are a nida and a yeledes. Nida, the pasuk says shivas yamim tehei binidasa. So the Mardashins, she has to be shivas yamim. I think it's sorry, I read that off. Dalit. Yeah, tihya binidasa. The Mardashin shivas yamim tihya binidasa. She has to be in her nidas for all 7 days. So therefore, she can only go to the mikvah after the 7 days are complete. And a yeledes has the same halacha as a nida. So a nida and a yeledes can be tovel at night. Sorry, a nida and a yeledes have to be tovel at night. But we got over here. Everybody else is tovel by day. Everybody else. So that would include a boil nida. Kol chavit tefillah tovel by yom. Kashan u'shimi. Answers the Gemara, no, that's not a good rider. Nida, the Mishnah says Nida, and anybody who's us because of a Nida is going to be Tevel by night. Okay, that's how he gets out of that one. Mesa, in fact, the Gemara. Bal Keri Kemaga Sheretz. A Bal Keri has the halacha of someone who touched a sheretz. Right? It has to be tevel by day. Okay. Ubayel nida ketame mace. And one who is bayel nida has the halacha of a tame mace, which is what? That he's only going to be tevel on day 7. Just like a tame mace, it can only be tevel, is only going to be tar after day 7. So bayel nida is ketame mace. So Balkari is kamaga sheret. So the day that he touches him, Balkari can go to the mikvah. And then that night he's tar, but only there's a katami mace. In fact, Gemara, my love, what is this Brisa talking about? Or Mishnah, is it talking about Latfila? It's telling you that a Baal Nida is katami mace. When would a tami mace go to the mikvah? A tami mace would go to the mikvah by day. So this Baal Nida, we're assuming, is also going to go to the mikvah by day because he has the same halach as a tami mace. So it's a kasha on Rav Shimi. And it's just Gemara, loy, litu masan. The Mishnah is not talking about the halach of tefillah. That's not what it's comparing a balkari to a sheretz and a baal nida to a tameis. It's coming to tell you the halachas of their tumah. Back to Gemara, tumasan behediksiv. What are you talking about? That's mefurish psukim. By tameis it says explicitly that he's got to wait 7 days, and by a Baal Nida, it says Vatihi Nidasa Allah v'tamei shivas yamim. So by both of them, it says that you're tummy for 7 days. I don't need the Brisa to tell you you're like a tummy mace that you're tummy for 7 days. So Elamai says the Gemara top of Beis Elalav l'tfilasan. It's come to tell me the halacha of tefillah, and therefore the Gemara this is a kasha on of Shimi. The Gemara says. Yeah, let's do it. Right. Answers the Gemara, La'ilam l'tumasan. It is coming for tumah. But you're right, and for that point, it doesn't have to tell you that. But Sefer Tzruchalei, there's a second point in that, I don't know if it's a Brisa or a Mishnah, and it says, El shachamor mimenu ba'al nida. Even though the ba'al nida is katami meis, the ba'al nida has a chumrah over the tami meis. And what is that? Shachamor mimenu ba'al nida, mishem etame mishkav u'maishav betuma kala, l'tama oichlin u'mashkin. The halacha is that a tami meis is an avatuma, and a ba'al nida would be an avatuma too. Yeah, he's also an avatuma, and so an avatuma is metame. It can make an adam v'kelim tummy. A ba'al, if a tummy mace touches things, it becomes tummy. But if he sits on things, the things underneath that which he's touching will not become tummy. So if he's sitting on a pillow on top of and underneath him is a mattress, so the pillow will become it because he's touching it. But that's medrash, maybe a shikol. A little medrash is moving things also. But metame mishkav umayshav. So the ba'al nida though will be metame anything. If he's sitting on something, then anything underneath him is going to become tamei. But not a tumah of like a rishon, not a tumah. It just be metame a tumah latama oichlin umashkin. So that is it won't be metame adam v'kelim like a regular case of mishkav u'mayshav that has the lach of. I'm just reading Rashi. The second line in Rashi, latama oichlin umashkin v'le latama adam v'kelim. It won't be able to metame adam. Meaning these mattresses won't be able to metame adam v'kelim. Kashar kol eisa mishkav u'mayshav, like a zav or a zava or a nidar mitzer that will be metame. All of Moshe, their mishkav Moshe to be metam adam v'kelim. Aval ba'al nida ksibei kol mishkav asher yishkav alav yitma. Anything that he lays on will become tummy. The nitku akasav mituma chamura the mishkav nida atzma sham metam adam k'dechsev chal sheyigav mishkava. If you look to Makala, because there's no reason for the Torah to write this pasuk. Because we know he has a halachas of a nida. So if you tell me that he has a halachas of a nida, so just like a nida is going to be tam mishkav v'mayshav, so then he will also. So why is there write it? To downgrade the tumah. To tell you that when he sits on it, it only becomes tamei, the tama adam oichlin mashkan, and not the mitama adam v'kelim. The Gemara brings one more raya, Toshima, another raya against Rav Shimi. The Tani Reb Chia hazav mitzer v'mitzeres u'bayil nida v'tamei meis tfilasin b'yayim. So this is Mefurish Brisa, not like Rav Shimi. It says explicitly that a Ba'al Nida is not Metame, Mishkav, Umayshav. Okay, we will stop here. We will do Metz Hashem, Dav Zayin, or Dav Vav and Beis and Dav Zayin on Shabbos 1 hour before Mincha.
Two questions.